What is up guys, Kris05 here with another video. In this video, I'll give you a list with the best legendaries I think are worth crafting.
Whoa, legendary!
I will start off with the best 5 neutral legendary cards, and I will continue with the best legendary cards for each class. As you probably know by now, One Night in Karazhan, Whispers of the Old Gods, and Mistreats of Gazatan will rotate out of standard in April, so I will not include any legendaries from those sets, but I will do an honorable mention list of them in the end of this video. Before I jump into the list, I'd like to say a few things, but if you want to get to the list faster, you can go ahead and skip to 1 minute and 50 seconds. First off, I want to thank all of you for watching my videos and subscribing. You have no idea how happy I am for each subscribe and comment I get from you. Also, you must know that crafting legendary cards just for the purpose to have legendaries is not a winning strategy in the game. If you find yourself with extra dust, it is best to think of new decks you want to try out or complete the deck you are already running. As strong as legendary cards are, having 1 or 2 legendaries in a deck won't compensate the lack of 4 epics or 10 rares in the same deck. My strategy when I don't have that much dust and I want to start a new deck is I craft everything essential and swap the expensive cards with commons or rares or other legendaries I already have. After that I strive to upgrade the deck to its final state card by card until I complete the optimal deck. I'd suggest you check my video on how you can get the most legendaries in Dust before you start crafting. Who knows, you might get lucky and get the legendary card you wanted just from watching my guide. This is my best video yet, with over 15,000 views for about a month. I know those numbers aren't something that special, but for a new YouTuber like me, the feeling is amazing and I want to thank you guys so much for giving me your time to watch my content. After we got that out of the way, let's move on to the list. The legendaries in this list will not be ranked in any particular order and will be cards that can be used in several decks.
Leroy Jenkins!
The first card I want to talk about is Leroy Jenkins, the new old Aggro King. Once patches got nerfed, Leroy regained his former title as Aggro King. This card is included in most aggro decks as a quick surprise finisher that can be used in many ways. Rogues can shadow step it and cold blood it as soon as turn 8 if they keep the coin. Paladins can Valenier buff it for a devastating 14 damage finisher. Hunters use it as well. Overall, it is a staple card for most of the aggro decks and some tempo archetypes, so you might want to craft it even if you don't run any specific decks for it. That being said, I really think this card might be thrown in the Hall of Fame when the next portion of cards are rotating into it, so keep that in mind.
Truth is found in death.
Next up is Kelset. This is another great aggro and tempo card that most pro players didn't recognize in the beginning. Although it forces a huge handicap for your deck to not run any 2-drops in it, people still find ways to effectively use it. Kelset synergizes well with classes that has decent draw like Warlock and Rogue, and even Priest started using it. Personally, I don't like this card too much, but it has to be in the list since it is used by so many players and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a key card in the meta for the next year to come.
Warriors of the frozen wastes, rise.
Next up we have the Lich King. This card has so much value into it and is really fun to play. It is used in big decks like Big Priest, Big Druid and can be included in most mid-range and control decks. The Lich King is a great card for new players because it fits so well in most beginner decks. I'm not saying it's the perfect card for those decks, but it gets the job done before people have the dust to replace it with a more optimal card. Having an 8/8 taunt with an insane card generation effect in the end of your turn is quite the value. If your opponent doesn't have an immediate answer for him, they would be in big trouble. That being said, I am sure we will see the Lich King quite often in the months to come.
I dream and the world trembles.
Ysera is a kind of card that always finds a place in some decks, no matter what the meta is. In a way, she's a lot like the Lich King, mostly used in big decks. Again, it's a great card generating effect, but lacking the taunt effect makes it a little bit worse than the Lich King. Ysera has been around for a really long time, and like Leroy, I feel she might be due for a Hall of Fame soon as well.
We hunger for vengeance.
This is a kind of card I didn't want to include in my list, but I really have to. It's been in the game since forever and it has quite nice value to it. Throughout the years, many classes used him. Mage, Shaman, Priest, Druid, Rogue, but right now he's being used effectively only by Miracle Rogue. It is a decent 2-drop with a Death Rattle card draw and +1 spell damage, so it is a really versatile card and that helps you cycle well. I might be repeating myself, but again, I think this one is going to Hall of Fame soon too.
That belongs in a museum.
I know I said the list was going to include 5 neutral cards, but I must include Jones here. With the release of Kobolds and Catacombs, Harrison Jones started seeing a lot of play as a tech card. He has okayish base stats, but his battle cry is insane in the current meta, since so many people run Manari, Alunet, Valanir, Kingsbane and other weapons in their decks. Having a draw mechanic in your deck has always been strong, but combining that with a decent body on the board and destroying your opponent's legendary weapon is crazy. This was the last of the neutral legendary cards, moving on to the best legendaries for each class.
A bargain forged in blood and shadow.
For Warlock, without a doubt, the best legendary is Bloodreaver Gul'dan. Before the Kobolds and Catacombs expansion, Gul'dan was a good card, but not a lot of people managed to run a successful deck with it. Back then, Control Lock was considered a tier 3 deck, but after the expansion, it rocketed to the top of the tier list with a Cube Lock and a Control Lock version, and even a Zoo Lock. Summoning all of your Doom Lords and Void Lords with a single card is quite overpowered, not to mention the insane hero power you get. There's rarely a way for your opponent to return from something so devastating as that. Skull of Manari is another great Warlock legendary to consider.
The light has betrayed me.
Moving on to Priest. Shadow Reaper Anduin is another Death Knight card that is just too good. After the Raza nerf, Anduin isn't seeing that much play, but I'm sure it is a matter of time before people rediscover how powerful this card really is. Even though the 2 damage hero power can't be made free anymore, it is still a pretty effective way to control the board, not to mention the battle cry. Lyra is another great legendary to consider.
The circle of life is over.
Since we are on a Death Knight spree, let's talk about Druid. For Druid, the best legendary to craft is, you guessed it, his Death Knight. This card is used in pretty much every deck archetype of Druid, except for aggro. Dropping 2 taunts or poison minions on turn 7 along with a great hero power really helps the Druid class to achieve his win condition.
The eternal hunt has begun.
To be honest, Hunter really doesn't have the need of legendary cards, but if I must include a card, it should be the Death Knight again. It's a really fun card to play with, having the option to always craft the beast you need is pretty amazing, and the 2 damage board clear is not bad at all as well. If you wanna have fun, this is the card to craft, but like I said, it is not essential for almost all of the good Hunter decks.
Ungoro belongs to the Titans.
Up next is Paladin. This is maybe the best class card that exists in Hearthstone right now. Reading the card for the first time, it really doesn't hit you right away how strong Terran is, but throughout the months, he proved as a must-have card in every Paladin deck, without exclusions. He's the perfect card for aggro, for midrange, for control, for everything. Without a doubt, if you want to play Paladin, you must craft this card ASAP. Tyrion, Valanir and Lanessa are all great legendaries to consider too.
The Brotherhood shall prevail.
This is another example of a class legendary card that just fits perfectly in almost every version of the class deck. Although it really isn't an essential card for most rogue decks, it adds another win condition for rogue. Van Cleef really speaks to the rogue archetype with all of its low cost spells and ways to combo several cards as soon as turn 2. Throughout the years, he was used in almost all of the rogue decks, and that is why I also think he is under the threat of being thrown to the Hall of Fame. For other great legendaries, we have to mention Valeera the Hollow and Kingsbane, of course.
You grasp the infinite, Mage.
For Mage, I will have to go with her newest legendary, Alunet. To be honest, it is debatable whether Alunet is the best class card for Mage, since Mage also has a great Quest and Death Knight card, but given my background is playing mainly aggro and tempo decks, there is no surprise I picked it over the other 2 great cards. It is a really fun card to play, and again, a lot of the pros didn't see its potential upon its release. Playing tempo Mage with it is really essential, since you run out of cards sometimes as soon as turn 3, and having such a strong and reliant hand refill is essential for the archetype to work. As I said, Open the Waygate and Frostlich Jaina are amazing class legendaries as well.
Greetings, friend. Greetings.
Shaman and Warrior are in a pretty bad spot right now, so I suggest you stay away from those classes for the moment and spend your dust on something else. I'm sure something will be done about those 2 in the upcoming patch. After that happens, some of the current legendaries should see a lot of play, but for now, both classes should be avoided. So that was the list, guys. Of course, I should mention the best cards that are rotating soon as well. Great cards like Raza the Unchained, Kazakas, Aya Blackpaw, Patches. Patches? No, not Patches. Not anymore. Medivh, Barnes, Isharj, Nzat, Deathwing Dragonlord, and many more are rotating out in less than 2 months, and that will really shake up the meta. These cards were the building blocks of the meta for so long, and it would be really interesting to see what we will replace them with. Drop a comment below and share what is the legendary you will miss the most and why. Also, did I miss to add your favorite legendary in the list? Make sure to let me know in the comments. And that's about it, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and if so, please leave a like and a subscribe. It really doesn't cost you anything, and it will mean the world to me. You can check my other videos as well. I'm sure you'll find something useful there. If you want to talk to me, you can add me on Facebook and like my Facebook page to show some support. I'll leave my Facebook profile and page in the description below. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm Kris05, and I'll see you in my next video.